Hey, you want to jump on here and answer a very common thyroid question. Besides hair loss and maybe how to prevent a goiter, one of the most often questions I get is people that basically have normal lab testing. Their markers look like they're in range, but they're still experiencing thyroid symptoms. How is it possible to have thyroid symptoms when your lab markers look normal? And I want to explain why and how that can happen. And so what we're going to look at is some basic physiology of producing thyroid hormones, starting from the brain and moving all the way to the hormones getting inside the cell. So we're going to look at what's called the HPT axis, how it should work, and then what goes wrong when you have thyroid issues. So the hypothalamus sends a message that's TRH, thyrotropin releasing hormone, to the pituitary, another part of the brain that sends a messenger, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, to the thyroid, which then is instructed to start producing thyroid hormone. So this TPO, thyroid peroxidase, is the enzyme that creates T4 and T3. Now, T4 is the inactive form of thyroid hormone that needs to be converted into T3, the active form, by an enzyme. I don't have it up on here, but it's 5-deiodinase enzyme. Then finally, T3 gets to the cell, and as long as it can get combined with the receptor site, you can get that thyroid hormone in the cell, and you can have the benefit of more energy, and just mood and just the metabolism things that are associated with the thyroid. Now, for a lot of people that start having symptoms of the hair falling out, depression, fatigue, weight gain, and all those things, they may go to their doctor and they may test this TSH to see where that marker is, and they may find out that TSH is high. So what often happens is people, a lot of doctors will prescribe possibly a synthetic T4 only medication. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because T4 is how the brain and negative feedback loop determines how much of the TRH and the TSH to send to the thyroid. Well, when T4 is the appropriate level, it will downregulate this TSH. So on the lab work, if you've been taking a synthetic T4 only, the negative feedback loop will inhibit the TSH, meaning that on the lab work it'll start to get into reference range. Then your T4 would obviously be in range too. So now your lab work looks kind of normal, but here is the catch. When people have this pattern of the hair loss, these hypothyroid symptoms, a lot of times, about 90% of people with hypothyroid symptoms actually have a condition called Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune issue where the immune system is actually attacking the thyroid. So I wanted to show you 3 key sites where this Hashimoto's, this autoimmune disease, is actually targets the thyroid kind of system here. And the first way, it actually attacks the TPO, the thyroid peroxidase. And so we start getting antibodies towards this. And this is actually one of the best ways to test for an immune response. Hashimoto's is by TPO antibodies, AB. And when that happens, there's destruction to the very enzyme that helps create thyroid hormone. Over time, that's going to cause a low thyroid level. The second way Hashimoto's affects thyroid function is this conversion of T4 to T3. Since the Hashimoto's creates an inflammatory state in the body, it inhibits the 5-deiodinase enzyme that is responsible for converting T4 to T3. And so even though you may be taking a synthetic T4 only, if you have this Hashimoto's in this inflamed state, then you may have plenty of T4, but you can't convert it into the active form of T3. Finally, Hashimoto's also impairs the receptor site. These are supposed to fit like lock and key, and if it's impaired, even if you do happen to make T3, you may not be able to get inside the cell. So these are three major areas where with Hashimoto's, it can inhibit thyroid function, even though you're taking T4 and maybe your TSH is now optimized. Is still, with Hashimoto's, you still have thyroid destruction. You're going to have possibly conversion issues and maybe even receptor site issues. So this is how you can have thyroid symptoms even though your lab work looks somewhat normal. So if you're interested in more comprehensive testing or learning more about Hashimoto's and how to overcome and really start the healing process for Hashimoto's, check out the link below.